Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 4 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection. So don't skip this video, let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The 1991 D quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The D mint mark indicates the coin was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The Washington quarter remained essentially unchanged from 1932 until 1998, when the 50-state quarters program began. Thus, the 1991 D represents the traditional Washington design in its later years. Millions were struck for circulation, making it common, but conditions, strike quality, and rare errors determine its collector appeal. Historical context of 1991. The year 1991 marked the end of the Cold War as the Soviet Union was collapsing. In the U.S., George H.W. Bush was president, and the Gulf War dominated headlines. Economically, inflation was low, but coins like the quarter were still heavily relied upon for vending machines, payphones, parking meters, laundromats, and toll booths. A quarter in 1991 had meaningful buying power compared to today. Collectors at that time were largely unaware that within a decade the Washington quarter design would change dramatically, making coins like the 1991 D part of the classic pre-statehood quarter era. Design: obverse, front. The obverse of the 1991 D quarter features a portrait of George Washington, the first U.S. president, facing left. This design was created by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932, based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon. Above Washington's head is the motto Liberty, while to the left across his neck is In God We Trust. At the bottom is the date 1991, and just above it on the right is the small D mint mark. On sharply struck examples, details such as Washington's hair, bow curls, and cheekbone are visible. However, many Denver strikes from this period show slight softness due to high-speed production. Design: reverse, back. The reverse design, also by John Flanagan, shows a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing readiness for defense, with 2 olive branches below representing peace. Above the eagle is United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum below. The denomination quarter dollar is written at the bottom. This bold and symmetrical design had been in use since 1932, except for the bicentennial quarters of 1975 to 1976, which temporarily featured a colonial drummer boy reverse. By 1991, this eagle reverse was in its final decade of use. Metal composition and physical specs. The 1991 D quarter is made of copper-nickel clad composition, introduced in 1965 after silver was removed from circulating U.S. quarters. The outer layers are 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge with 119 reeds. This clad composition gives the coin a silvery appearance while being much less costly to produce than silver. Unlike pre-1965 quarters, the 1991 D has no intrinsic silver value, but its durability in circulation is high. Mintage figures. The Denver Mint struck an impressive 630,966,693 quarters in 1991. This massive production ensured that the 1991 D is very common in circulation. For collectors, this high mintage means circulated examples are abundant and worth only face value, but pristine uncirculated coins and error varieties remain attractive. Circulation and use. In 1991, quarters were heavily used in commerce more than any other coin. They operated payphones, video game arcades, soda machines, and toll booths, making them one of the most useful denominations of the time. Because of this, most 1991 D quarters saw immediate circulation and picked up wear quickly. Today, most found in change are worn with flattened eagle feathers and dull surfaces. Uncirculated examples exist but are harder to find in pocket change. Minting process at Denver. The Denver Mint in 1991 was one of the largest coin-producing facilities in the world. Planchets were fed into coining presses that struck coins at tremendous speeds. Dies were replaced frequently due to the high production rate, but some worn dies remained in use, resulting in coins with weaker strikes. After striking, quarters were ejected into bins, weighed, and packaged in large bags for shipment to banks and the Federal Reserve. Varieties and errors. The 1991 D quarter has no major design varieties, but there are minor repunched mint marks, RPMs, Known to specialists, collectors also look for minting errors such as off-center strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and die cracks. Some coins also show misaligned dies or weak strikes, though these are usually of modest collector value and less dramatic. Collector value in circulated condition: the 1991 D quarter is worth only 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples with bright luster are more desirable. An MS-65 gem uncirculated coin might sell for $5 to $8, while MS-66 examples bring $20 to $30. The true rarities are MS-67 or higher, which can sell for $350 or more at auction due to their scarcity in such perfect condition. Proof versions of the 1991 quarter were struck at San Francisco with an S mint mark, not Denver. Numismatic significance. The 1991 D quarter represents the end of an era. It was among the last decades of the eagle reverse design before the 50-state quarters program revolutionized collecting in 1999. For modern collectors, it's a common circulation coin, but an essential piece for anyone building a full Washington quarter date and mint set. Its clad composition also makes it a symbol of America's move away from silver coinage in the late 20th century. Top 2. The 1965 Washington quarter is a transitional coin of enormous significance in U.S. numismatics. Struck without a mint mark, since the Denver and San Francisco mint marks were temporarily removed in 1965 to 1967, it marked the first official year when quarters were no longer made of 90% silver. Instead, the coin was produced in the modern copper-nickel clad format, a core of pure copper sandwiched between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This change ended over 170 years of U.S. silver circulation coinage. Collectors today recognize the 1965 quarter as both a common circulation coin and a milestone in American monetary history. Historical context of 1965. The year 1965 was turbulent for American coinage. Silver prices had been rising steadily in the early 1960s, and by 1964 the intrinsic silver value of coins like dimes, quarters, and half dollars had nearly equaled or exceeded their face value. This led to severe coin shortages as citizens hoarded silver coins. To combat the crisis, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Coinage Act of 1965, which removed silver from the quarter and dime and reduced it in a half dollar. The mint introduced the copper-nickel clad quarter, and 1965 was its debut year. The decision was controversial at the time as many Americans distrusted the cheaper-looking new coins, but they quickly became the standard. Design: obverse, front. The obverse of the 1965 quarter features the classic portrait of George Washington facing left, designed by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932. This design had been created for the bicentennial of Washington's birth. Above his head is the word Liberty, to the left across his neck is In God We Trust, and the date 1965 appears at the bottom. Unlike earlier quarters, there is no mint mark on the obverse. The mint deliberately omitted them from 1965 through 1967 to discourage coin hoarding during the silver transition. On well-preserved examples, Washington's hair curls and cheek details are crisp, but many circulation strikes from this year are weak or show dull surfaces due to rushed production. Design: reverse, back. The reverse continues Flanagan design of a heraldic eagle with wings spread perched on a bundle of arrows with two olive branches below. The inscriptions include United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum, just above the eagle, and the denomination quarter dollar along the bottom. The design emphasizes strength and readiness for defense, the arrows, balanced with peace, the olive branches. This reverse had been in use since 1932 and would remain until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. Metal composition and physical specs. The 1965 quarter was the first of its kind made from a clad composition rather than silver. It has an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded together. The total weight is 5.67 grams, the diameter is 24.26 millimeters, and the edge is reeded with 119 tiny grooves. The copper core is visible on the edge as a brownish stripe, a telltale sign of clad coinage. This new composition gave the coin a silvery appearance without the expense of silver, and it proved to be durable in circulation. Mintage figures and production. The U.S. Mint struck an enormous 1,819,717,540 quarters dated 1965. This huge mintage was necessary to replace the silver coins being hoarded and to satisfy public demand during the coin shortage. Production took place at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but without mint marks they are indistinguishable. Because of this massive production, the 1965 quarter remains extremely common today, especially in circulated condition. Circulation and use in 1965, the quarter was one of the most useful coins in American daily life. It operated payphones, vending machines, jukeboxes, laundromats, and parking meters. Unlike pennies and nickels, which often accumulated and used, quarters circulated heavily and wore down quickly. For decades afterward, the 1965 quarter remained a workhorse of commerce. Even today, many survive in worn condition, while pristine, uncirculated examples are much scarcer due to mass usage. Transition issues: silver versus clad. Because 1965 was the first clad year, some confusion and curiosity surrounded the coins. A small number of transitional error coins exist. 1965 dated quarters struck on leftover 90% silver planchets intended for 1964 coins. These are extremely rare and valuable since they weigh 6.25 grams, heavier than clad quarters, and have a solid silver edge with no copper stripe. Collectors test suspect coins by weighing them or examining their edges. A genuine 1965 silver quarter can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. Collector value: in circulated condition, a 1965 clad quarter is worth only its face value. In uncirculated grades, however, they gain collector value. An MS-65 example might bring $11 to $15, while MS-66 coins can sell for $40 to $70. The true rarities are MS-67 or higher, which can reach hundreds of dollars. Proof like strikes or transitional silver planchet errors are worth much more because billions were minted. The challenge for collectors is not finding one, but finding one in pristine, spot-free, fully struck condition. Numismatic significance. The 1965 quarter is one of the most important modern U.S. coins. It represents the end of circulating silver coinage and the beginning of the clad era, which continues today. While common in numbers, it is historically invaluable, showing how economic forces shaped U.S. coinage. For collectors, it offers both an affordable entry-level coin and the possibility of rare high-value varieties like silver transitional errors. Its role in solving the 1960s coin shortage ensures its permanent place in American numismatic history. Top 3. The 1985 D. Washington quarter is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, as shown by the small D mint mark on the obverse just to the right of Washington's ponytail ribbon. Like other quarters of this period, it carries the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the obverse, and the heraldic eagle reverse that had been standard since 1932. Unlike earlier quarters struck before 1965, this coin was made of the modern copper-nickel clad composition rather than silver. Historical context: 1980s coinage. The mid-1980s in the United States were marked by economic growth, technological changes, and inflation that continued to raise the importance of the quarter in everyday transactions. By 1985, the quarter had become one of the most widely used denominations in circulation, heavily relied upon in vending machines, payphones, laundromats, and parking meters. Unlike pennies, which were often disregarded, or half dollars, which were rarely seen, the quarter was the backbone of daily commerce. The 1985 D quarter therefore belongs to a critical era of steady high-demand production of coinage. Design: obverse, front. The obverse displays John Flanagan classic bust of George Washington, first used in 1932. Washington faces left with his hair tied back in a ribbon. Across the top is the word Liberty, while to the left of Washington's neck is the motto, In God We Trust. The date 1985 is centered at the bottom. To the right of the bow in Washington's hair is the mint mark D for Denver. Many 1985 D quarters show signs of strong strikes, though some have soft detail around Washington's hair and the jawline, reflecting the rapid pace of minting. Design: reverse, back. The reverse of the 1985 D quarter features the heraldic eagle with wings spread, designed by John Flanagan in 1932. The eagle perches atop a bundle of arrows, symbolizing defense and military readiness, with two olive branches below representing peace. Arched above is the legend, United States of America, with the motto, E pluribus unum, just beneath it. At the bottom is the denomination, quarter dollar. This design had been in place for over 50 years by 1985 and was familiar to every American. It would remain until the dramatic redesign of the statehood quarters in 1999. Metal composition and specifications: the 1985 D quarter is a clad coin, L meaning it is made of an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. The overall composition is 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. Its weight is 5.67 grams diameter, 24.26 millimeters, thickness 1.75 millimeters, and it has a reeded edge with 119 tiny grooves. This composition had been adopted in 1965 to replace 90% silver coinage, and by 1985 the clad quarter was the established standard. Mintage figures. The Denver Mint struck a massive 520,325,000 Washington quarters in 1985. This large number reflects the heavy demand for quarters in circulation during the 1980s, while this makes the 1985 D quarter very common in circulated grades mint state examples, especially those at higher levels like MS 66 or MS 67 are much scarcer and desirable to collectors. Circulation roll in 1985. The 1985 D quarter was a true workhorse of commerce. In an era before widespread debit card usage, quarters were critical for daily transactions. They fed vending machines that sold sodas for 50 cents, ran arcade machines for 25 cents per play, and operated payphones at 25 cents per call. Millions of Americans interacted with quarters every day, and the 1985 D was part of this life. Its circulation ware today tells stories of daily American life in the mid-1980s. Minting quality and strike characteristics. By 1985, the mint had greatly improved its ability to produce clad coins in mass quantities. However, quarters from this era sometimes show weak strikes in Washington's hair details and the eagle's feathers. Many also exhibit contact marks from the fast-moving machinery and storage bins. Collectors seeking high-grade uncirculated examples must sort through large numbers to find coins with sharp strikes and minimal bag marks. Collector interest and value in circulated condition. The 1985 D quarter is worth only its face value of 25 cents. However, in uncirculated grades, it carries collector premiums. A mint state 65, MS 65, example might sell for $8 to $12, while an MS 66 can bring $30 to $60. Truly high-end coins graded MS 67 can fetch over $600 at auction due to their rarity. Special varieties or errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or missing clad layers can raise the value dramatically. Numismatic importance. Although common, the 1985 D quarter holds significance as a representative of mid-1980s American coinage. It reflects the stability of the Washington quarter design, the dominance of clad metal coinage, and the quarter's central role in daily use commerce for collectors. Building date and mint mark sets. The 1985 D is essential, and finding one in top mint state condition offers a real challenge. Top 4. The 1989 D Washington quarter is a U.S. 25-cent piece minted at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The D mint mark appears on the obverse of the coin, just right of George Washington's ponytail ribbon. It is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which had been in use since 1932. By 1989, the series was well established as the standard circulating quarter in America, with its silver replaced by clad copper nickel since 1965. Historical context: 1989 America. The year 1989 was significant in U.S. and world history. Domestically, the U.S. economy was entering the final year of Ronald Reagan's presidency, marked by a period of growth, technological expansion, and cultural change. The quarter, especially the 1989 D issue, was a coin Americans handled daily in payphones, laundromats, and vending machines. It was an essential part of small transactions during a time when quarters were still widely trusted as a reliable unit of purchasing power. Obverse design. The obverse front of the coin features the bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan in 1932. Washington is shown facing left with his hair tied in a ribbon at the back. The word "Liberty" arcs across the top. The national motto, "In God We Trust," appears left of Washington's throat. The date 1989 sits at the bottom with a small D mint mark tucked near Washington's ponytail. The portrait, by 1989, had been in use for over 57 years and was instantly recognizable to every American. Reverse design. The reverse shows a heraldic eagle, wings outstretched, designed by Flanagan. As well, the eagle rests on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing readiness for defense, with 2 olive branches beneath, signifying peace. Above the eagle are the inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum." At the bottom is the denomination quarter dollar. This reverse design, largely unchanged since 1932, was iconic and remained in use until the statehood quarter program launched in 1999. Metal composition. The 1989 D quarter is not silver, but a clad coin made of a pure copper core with outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. The composition is 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. It weighs 5.67 grams, has a 24.26 millimeters diameter, and a 1.75 millimeters thickness. The edge is reeded with 119 tiny grooves which help prevent counterfeiting and also give it the classic quarter feel. Mintage numbers. The Denver Mint produced an impressive 896,535,597 Washington quarters in 1989, nearly 900 million coins. This massive output was necessary to keep up with everyday circulation demands as quarters were heavily used in commerce. The large mintage makes the 1989 D very common today in circulated condition, though high-grade examples are less common. Circulation and usage. In 1989, a quarter could buy a soft drink from a vending machine, one play at an arcade game, or a local payphone call. It was a coin of immense practical utility. Because quarters were constantly used, they often developed where quickly Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are the first places where wear appears. A 1989 D in average circulated condition is extremely common, and billions still circulate today. Denver Mint and its role. The Denver Mint, where the 1989 D quarter was struck, had been operating since 1906. By 1989, it was one of the most productive mints in the world, producing billions of coins each year. The D mint mark is a key detail for collectors, distinguishing these coins from those struck at Philadelphia, which in 1989 did not use a P mark on quarters. Strike quality and appearance. Most 1989 D quarters show decent strike quality with Washington's hair detail visible and the eagle's feathers fairly well defined. However, due to the huge mintage, many coins left the mint with bag mark scratches or weak strikes. Collectors who want pristine examples must look for coins graded MS66 or higher, which are scarcer. Collector value. Circulated versus uncirculated. Circulated 1989 D quarters. Worth face value, 25 cents. Uncirculated, MS63, MS65, $3 to $7 to high grades, MS66 $35 to $60 superb gem, MS67 and above $500 plus at auction. Because of the huge mintage, the coin is only valuable in top uncirculated condition or with errors. Error varieties. Some 1989 D quarters have been found with interesting mint errors which make them more collectible. These include off-center strikes, part of the design missing, clipped planchets, a curved chunk missing from the edge, die cracks and cuds, raised lines or blobs caused by worn dies, missing clad layer exposing the copper core which makes the coin look reddish. Such errors can sell for anywhere from $20 to several $100 depending on rarity and condition. Numismatic significance. While the 1989 D is a common circulation coin, it represents the end of an era. By the late 1980s, the Washington quarter design had been in place for nearly 6 decades without change. Within a decade, the U.S. Mint would radically transform the series with the 50-state quarters program, 1999 to 2008, which completely changed how Americans saw their quarters. The 1989 D is therefore part of the final chapters of the long-running Eagle Reverse. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.